So the big kickoff for the new 2023-24 season is just a few weeks away now. It all starts, of course, against Hull City at Carrow Road on August the 5th. We can't wait for that. So to look ahead, we have the perfect panel in the building. We can't wait for this. And Phil can introduce them for us.
Yeah, so good evening. Before we say hello to our special guests, in the second half of the show, we will be getting you to give us your questions. Anything you like within reason. Keep it sensible. So have a think, and we'll be handing over the mic to you later on. But without further ado, let's welcome our panel. In a few moments, we'll be bringing to the stage a couple of the players. You might have spotted them out the back, one of which is currently looking at the Argos sail. So if we can drag him away from there, we will bring him on. You can probably guess who that's going to be. But first of all, please welcome Norwich City Executive Director Zoe Webber and the head coach David Wagner. Lovely to see you guys. Thank you very much for coming on. David Wagner, I should say. I said Wagner earlier on. Are you bothered?
Absolutely not. You can do whatever you like to do.
I'm glad you've said that. Brilliant. I'll be signing on Monday for a lot of money.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Can we please turn the air conditioner on?
No, absolutely not. It's all part of the pre-season training. Thank you both very much for coming on. As we say, we're going to have some plenty of questions from the floor later on. We do have to start with, it's been a pretty busy summer, hasn't it, I think, already, and especially in the Webber household. We had the news a couple of weeks ago that Stuart would be leaving. Where are we on that? We'll start with you, Zoe, if that's okay. Where are we on his future and how short or long that's going to be as it stands today?
As it stands today. So as it stands today, I think nearly, everyone will be aware Stuart handed his notice back in March and he has a 12-month notice period. So as it stands today, he's with us until the 31st of March. Football is, obviously an ever-changing environment. So that could be shorter. So, if we appointed someone sooner, and we had that conversation with Stuart about, bringing someone in earlier than that, and he fully respects that might be the situation that we get to. But equally, just as if he wasn't on notice, if someone else came in for him, then there's obviously a discussion about whether he goes sooner. So there's a bit of a journey to go on, but we're very much cracking on at the moment with looking for a replacement for him, and that's our priority.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you want to do that. You want to leave it in your own destiny, I would imagine. So getting someone in sooner rather than later, I would guess, would be your priority?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think in an ideal world, we'd be able to bring someone in and there would be an element of crossover. But that's very much, if we're looking at our utopia position of what we'd like to achieve. But I think, from back in March, we're obviously very conscious of the fact, like even if Stuart hadn't have handed in his notice, there's always possibility that he could have been approached by somebody and could have gone. So we'll always be looking at the market, understanding what the marketplace looks like, having a bit of a plan of how we would tackle that. So I think we've obviously had the period between March and the announcement to look at what that process is going to look like, and now we're actually now we're announced, we can sort of put that into action.
No doubt we'll have lots of questions from our wonderful audience here later on about this situation. Obviously, Neil Adams is the new technical director. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that job entails for Neil?
Well, I think at the moment it's very much a position that we've agreed with him. We very much see that's where Neil's skill set lies. He's been a player at the highest level, manager at the highest level. He oversees our academy at the moment. So really, I think he's had a couple of years now working alongside Stuart, really sort of learning the ropes, and now it's really time for us to sort of carve out that sort of that role for him, that, like I say, really utilises his skill set and makes the most of it.
And that, obviously, the statement when Stuart, the news came, said that Neil will not be doing that job, the sporting director job. It sounds as if you're going out to find that person, or is it a kind of you can apply if you want to situation as well?
Well, anyone can apply if you want to put your CV in. Both. I mean, we will look. We're looking at in the next few days to appoint a recruitment agent to help us with that process, because whilst we know some of the market, and Stuart is very much across that space. We want to make sure that we sort of don't leave any stone unturned in making sure that we get the right person in. And so we're not going to rush into an appointment. We're going to kind of go through a proper process.
David, what was it like for you? I mean, this is the man that brought you to Norwich City. You've had a long-standing relationship with, and I'm sure he, maybe you went into his office or he took you into your office, whatever, and had the conversation about him leaving. I mean, were you surprised? What was your sort of initial reaction?
Obviously I was surprised on the one hand, but on the other hand, we always from the beginning had honest conversations about that. Football is a business where things can change very quick. So even when we had our first conversations at the end of December, we've spoken about the situation, what can happen maybe in the future. So obviously everybody knows how much I respect him. Everybody knows that he brought me first to England a few years ago, and now gave me the opportunity to join this great football club as well. But the truth is as well, if I would get offered the Norwich City job and Stuart wasn't the sporting director, I even would take it then. So it was not because of him, it was because of the football club. Luckily, he was the man who was in charge when I came. And now for me, to be totally honest, nothing really changed because for us, it's absolutely business as usual. We have to move on, we have to look forward, we'll have to look ahead. We do exactly the same conversations which we set up, even more maybe focused on the now and not the long-term future, because he as well is not in charge long-term. This is what we now all together know. But in general, our day-to-day work doesn't change, and I'm still very excited about it.
Yeah, and David, it's interesting to hear you say, you would have took the job even without Stuart Webber being the sporting director, but no doubt you will want to be part of the conversation with the board about who replaces him. Is that fair to say?
No, listen, at the end of the day, I think my job is to make sure that we have a proper squad next season, together with obviously the recruitment department and Stuart as well. Obviously, if the board likes to have my opinion, I'm always honest and give my opinion. If they try to integrate me in this process, I'm there. If not, I think I have my job to do to build a proper squad, to prepare them as good as possible, to be as successful as possible. What does it mean in the future for the sporting director position? We will see. At the end of the day, at the minute, I'm not involved in this process.
We cannot bring Zoe in on that. I mean, I assume that you would want David to be in that process because you want them to have a good relationship. It's very important.
Yeah, I think absolutely. For us, we need to find somebody, culturally that is the right fit, and it will be very important to us as we go through the process that the key people are engaged in that. We're not about to parachute somebody into Lotus Training Centre and go, here you go, guys, this is your man or woman. But I think it's very key, for us to engage and make sure it's right.
Brings us on sort of nicely, and I guess this is a question for both of you, and we'll maybe talk more about the latest signings, because we're all itching to find out who's the next person through the door, who's going to be the next heroes. But just staying with the current sporting director and how plans are affected for this transfer window, because as soon as anyone sees that the sporting director is on the verge of leaving, it could be tomorrow, it could be in a week's time, it could be in 6 months' time, they'll be concerned, rightly, about the transfer window now and whether those plans are going to be affected. Can you put anyone's minds at rest?
Yeah, it's quite easy. So I promise he will not leave tomorrow and not next week. No, seriously. At the end of the day, the process of building a squad doesn't start with the final whistle of of the last season. So it's already in place. We had a lot of conversations, more or less since the January window closed, where I was only here for a few weeks, because we have known we have to look forward to the summer window as well. And I think we all together can be very happy with the signings which we already have done. So one of them is here, and you will hear him later as well. I think this is credit to Stuart and his department, because we were very on the front foot in trying to get our new signings in very early, and obviously they've done their job. It isn't anything but done. So I hope, and I'm quite sure, that we will have some further ins and outs as well. And as I said, it doesn't change because of the situation that Stuart leaves whenever in the future, because everything already was set up in the last weeks or month, and now it's all about try to get everything done as quick as possible, and obviously as good as possible as well from the financial point of view, which is more the board's concern than my concerns. But this is where everything has clicked together that we can be doing some further business. Do
you want to just remind us who those signings are? I mean, we all know, obviously, but just remind us who we're going to sign in the next week or two.
No problem. So number one is we have some work to do, like we've done in the off season as well. So what I can let you know is that I expect that our business is not done now.
And just in terms for you, Zoe, obviously, the fans know they were at the games. I mean, it was a disappointing season. I'm sure you've echoed that, and I know Stuart said that in the sort of end of season interviews he did, because the target was promotion. Can Norwich fans expect the noises to be coming from Carrow Road that it's going to be promotion? We've got to be going for promotion, or is it our kind of aspirations slightly tempered this time?
No, I mean, I think every year we should be going for promotion. I don't think anybody ever kind of kicks that first ball and thinks, oh, do you know what, we'd be quite happy to finish X or Y. And the thing is with the championship, as you see, it's tough and it's relentless, but also promotion is achievable, and we've managed it before. So absolutely, that that's what we have to strive to achieve. But yeah, it's tough. It's not it's not an easy thing to go out and get promoted, and I think it's key for us that we all work together. I think we've really seen in the past when we have achieved great things, it's when everybody's come together to really push, particularly in the latter stages of getting the club across the line. And so I absolutely think that's what we should be aiming for.
And obviously one thing that it goes without saying that Norwich players, the head coach, everyone needs is these guys here and all their mates to be on side and be pulling for them and kind of making Carrow Road, a fortress, if you like, for want of a better phrase. What are the club doing to kind of get back there? Because, lots of these people would have been going a long time and perhaps might say it's not what it used to be in terms of atmosphere. That there is a bit of kind of the word toxicity's been used. What would you say to that?
Yeah, I think it was tough at the end of last season. It was tough walking into the stadium at points, and I think that we've got to sort of almost wipe the slate clean now. We all want the same thing. We all want promotion, and I think that's the key thing is let's make Carrow Road a place where it's tough for teams to come to. We want teams to think, God, we've got to go to Norwich on Saturday. That's going to be tough, and that's really, really key for us. We completely know the role that we have to play. We have to deliver the performances and we have to deliver the results. And but yeah, together we can make it a tough place.
And David, from the playing side of things, I know we speak to you on a weekly basis, and you're always keen to talk about the fans and how important they are and the incredible away support that Norwich City get. You've brought in players, and we'll give him a big head, but you've brought in a player like Ashley Barnes, who's clearly a fighter and has got a big heart and wears his his heart on his sleeve. So that's the kind of people you want to see fans to react to, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think we have to be totally honest, and I think it's unfair to blame anyone here in this room rather than us. So we have to be the first who have to deliver to create this atmosphere, and it's only us. So no one will cheer for you, no one will celebrate for you if you play like. Sorry.
We've got to edit that out for the radio now. Cheers. You just heard the Norwich manager swear. That's a big round of applause. We love it.
And from a radio point of view, there's now going to be no swear. There's going to be a bleep and a round of applause. Yeah. No one's going to have a clue what's going on.
And we thought by taking Stuart out of the equation that we wouldn't get this.
You learned your English from him, didn't you? Yeah, absolutely.
No, and this is what I wanted to say. So, and I'm 100% sure if we on the grass deliver only a little bit to get celebrated, we will get the support. This was what I always felt at home and in a way, but we have to deliver. And this is exactly why we met us so early, why everything what I've seen, what the players have done in the off-season when we tested them on Friday and Saturday. They already have done a proper job, and why we started today the preseason as well, because I said this before, I can't promise that we will win every football game, but what I promise is that we will be one of the fittest team in this division. This is for sure next season the case, and for this I think, yes, we can speak and talk a lot about promotion, but from my point of view, if somebody promised me, if you speak about it, you will get it, I will speak about it. But this was never the case. So this is why I mean, speak less, work more. This is, I think, what we should do. Maybe it makes sense to be a little bit more humble. What doesn't mean to be very ambitious as well. And then we crack on and we attack. But speaking about promotion, I think at least 8 or 10 clubs in this division like to speak about it, and not everybody will get it. And this is why I think it means for me, speak less, work more. This is what we will do, and this is what we need to deliver on the grass what we expected from ourselves.
And lots of people have talked about how you and your coaching staff, work the players so hard, in pre-season. There's lots of running, there's lots of tough, days where they're in the sweltering heat here in Norfolk, they're running and they're getting involved. Is that important to you?
At 8 o'clock in the morning, it's not so warm.
No, okay.
Yeah, we haven't told Ashley this yet.
Yeah, we'll ask them when they come on. But how important is it for you, David, to have a team that are disciplined and in terms of training are really worked really hard?
Now, listen, I think, obviously, football is a small family, isn't it? So I think the guys, they have their sources where they already know what they have to expect from the Germans in the pre-season. So this is why I think I've seen they are proper prepared with their off-season program. And yes, the truth is, I was a player as well, and I said this to the lads today. Pre-season is never the most enjoyable part of a football player life, but it's part of your life. So, and the truth is as well, there will be some days where it hurts. There will be some days where they suffer. But it's the truth is as well. You only can change your borderline if you work on your borderline. If you work below your borderline, you will not change it. So, come on. So this means. Obviously, we have days of triple sessions where we train 8 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and 4 o'clock. But it's pre-season, so it's something. Everybody, I think, knows there are harder jobs than being a football player on this planet as well. But I know for sure if they stay healthy, and this is the most important thing for me, if they get this 6 weeks under their belt on the grass. They are on a level where I can close my eyes and I know they can run like hell.
Would someone just be able to go and get Ashley Barnes back after here? Triple sessions, how do you feel about that?
Thumbs up.
A puff
he
of
has
the cheeks.
not it so far.
Puff of the cheeks. Completely understand that. We can't not talk about money. Money makes the world go round. Money makes football go round. And everyone wants to know where the money's coming from. And there is a certain American who we know has got quite a lot of money. Zoe, are we any closer to getting him to open his checkbook a bit more? Or?
I think the obviously everyone knows Mark Mark's joined the board and he brought Michael Folger's shares. So as it stands at the moment, he's a minority shareholder and very much supportive of what we're doing. I think Mark was never brought in with an open checkbook, and we wouldn't expect him to be kind of stumping up the cash, should we say. But I think what he's given us is amazing support. He's brought a lot of fresh ideas. He's complementing the board, and we're really enjoying having him around.
Sadly, money does make the world go round. So are there other avenues that are being pursued? I mean, I'm sure you're going to say yes, but I mean, any feasible ones where the money's going to come from? We often hear about Norwich's finances and the way they work, and by selling players to generate more funds. But that is only sustainable to a certain level. It feels like we've been trying to, fight above their means for a long time, but to get up to that top level and stay there. Can money be found anywhere else?
There's not a lot around at the moment. It has to be said. But I think, Delia, Michael, and Mark are all very committed to trying to make the club as sustainable as possible, and they won't take any risk in terms of investment. I think sometimes you see clubs where money comes in and then it gets kind of cut off, and clubs get left in really difficult situations, and it's really important for us that we don't put the club in that space.
And I know lots of people want to ask about this later, but obviously the new share issue that was fairly recently, and things have gone quiet, no doubt for good reason. Can you give us an update on what's happening with that?
Yeah, it's gone quiet in the public domain. Obviously, behind the scenes, we're continuing to work on it. I think the complexity comes because we're a PLC, and that brings with it a certain enhanced level of kind of legal and regulatory frameworks that we have to work through. And I think, being brutally honest, I don't think they were really designed for us. I think they were designed for big trading PLCs, but we get caught by them. And that means that a lot of the documents we're producing in draft have to go to independent regulators. They have to approve them. It's a chunky process, shall we say. So we're very much working on it, and we hope, in the coming weeks that we'll make some progress.
No doubt, David. I mean, I'm not going to get you to comment on situations like that, but obviously you are working within what you've always known at the club, is that money is tight, and it might be, using transfer funds from assets to bring that in, and you totally understand that and accepting that, no doubt, because that's been the plan from day one for you when you've been at Norwich City.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everybody is aware, and I think this is something which excites us well. That one of the ideas of our football club is to produce talent into quality, and then to sell at the right moment, and then to invest this money into the infrastructure or into new signings as well. So obviously this is a big part of our work, of my work as well. So if Onel Hernandez scores 15 goals next season and makes 10 assists, we are maybe able to make Zoe very happy, because then we can sell him. So
we can't sell Onel. Come on, what's going on here? We can't sell him.
Yeah, I mean the season after, when he's then scored 20 goals.
Fine, in the Champions League. Yeah, they're all right. Yeah. Okay.
No pressure.
No, but this is the truth, and this is why we have such great academy, such great facilities to produce, hopefully, further academy products as well, which for sure need some time, but then at the right moment, hopefully they can transfer their talent into real quality games and quality performances, that they will be then the next ones, which we at one moment will or have to sell to build our football club.
As far as generating money then and selling players, I mean, obviously Onel is one that you might be going in the future.
Don't tell him that yet.
He's all right. Oh, you can hear what we're saying. Sorry, Onel, it's all right. This summer, let's be honest, there's a couple of players in particular that have been, maybe it's media talk, but I think the club has openly said we are willing to sell a couple of their younger talents who have been with the club for a long time and are going to generate some income. You'll be sad to lose those, won't you? Obviously, because they're a big part of the club. But it's sort of much needed finance. Do you understand I know you do understand, but from a head coach's point of view, the necessity to have to sell some of those players that I'm sure you'd rather were staying and fighting for you in the Championship next season?
Yes, of course. But at the end of the day, this is the nature of our game. And to be fair, I think there is not one football club on the planet who will not sell or who will not change their squad in a summer window. This is the nature, to be totally honest, from a personal point of view and from a relationship point of view. Nearly every player who leaves you after you worked with him for a year or sometimes even longer, this isn't nice, because you have a certain relationship with someone who have you seen more or less every day, and then from one second to another you will not see him, I don't know, in the next 2 years till you will meet him again, and this is never nice. But we all together committed to this business and to this industry, and this means this happens. And obviously the good thing is we don't have to sell. I think there's always a big difference, and I worked in environments where you were under huge pressure to sell, and obviously this then always can cause you some problems, but we are open to sell if the right offer is on the table for the right player. And we were always very honest to the players as well, what I think is always crucial. And then we will see what will the window brings to us. But as I said, I expect that we have some further in and outs in the next weeks.
Would you rather it was done sooner rather than later from a playing point of view, so you know where you stand and you can start getting everyone, fully ready for how you want them?
Yeah, absolutely. So in a perfect world, I would have at the latest on Monday, when our internationals come back into the pre-season as well, I would have my squad ready to go. But this was and will never be the case, to be fair.
Well, I think that's great from you two. I think we've had some great insight there, but obviously guys are going to ask you some questions later on. So give them a round of applause. I think they've been absolutely brilliant there and really candid.
Thank you.
And Zoe and David are going to have a little break. And without further ado, Phil, shall we bring on the players? Have some water. No, I'm all right. I don't want to. I'll have to go to the loo if I keep drinking. That's the trouble. So while David gets a drink, we'll let him have a drink because he's done well for us. But keep your questions coming. Keep thinking about those questions, because later on we will be able to ask Zoe and David some questions. We also, if you're a bit shy as well, as we touched on earlier, we have got some cards and pens and what have you, so you can actually write your question down, because some of you, they're not like me and you, Phil, big mouths that don't mind being in front of people. If you don't want to ask that question yourself, we can do it for you. So without further ado, Phil, come on, let's get these players on.
Yeah, let's bring him over. He's one of the newest Norwich City members, and hopefully he's going to be scoring some goals for them. Ashley Barnes, everybody. And the Cuban baller himself, Onel Hernandez.
Come on, let's have a bit of the Onel song, everyone. Come on, get it going. Liam, get him started, the Onel song. Come on. Onel. Onel, you going to sing along?
Onel Hernandez runs down the wing for me.
That's what we came for. Brilliant stuff. So let's start with you, Ashley. Welcome to the club. Let's have a big round of applause for Ashley Barnes,
Thank you.
Our new striker. You've already met a few of the Norwich fans. They're a wonderful bunch. Look at them. There's going to be thousands more at Carrow Road on Saturday. You already said to me earlier how much you're looking forward to playing at Carrow Road in front of a big crowd, the big away fan support as well. What was your decision based on coming to Norwich City?
I think it was obviously the family club. I love that history of a club that always are right behind the team. Unfortunately, speaking to a few of the boys, it was disappointing last season, but they hold their hands up, and it's one of them that now we can write history and obviously set out the aim and the goal of obviously getting promoted this year.
And obviously you've been a long-standing player, you've had a long career. Before you came to Norwich, what did you think of the club? What historic, or sort of out in the sticks a little bit, or what did you think of Norwich City as a football club?
Fantastic following, obviously in numbers today, and obviously at the ground, I think in the top 3 of supporters throughout the championship, whether it's going good or bad, and you're still there supporting the team. So yeah, that's a massive credit to you all. Absolutely.
Let's bring in O'Neill. Here he is, the main man. You're the player that I think. Look at the smiles on their faces.
All the lads have told me today that he's the fans' favourite. So
he is.
Yeah.
He is. It's true, though, isn't it, guys? He's the fans' favourite. Everyone absolutely loves you, O'Neill. You've said this before, but let's just get out of here, just to really get the fans on side here. What does this football club mean to you? You've got the tattoo, we know that, but you love this place, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. For me, it means a lot because it basically changed my life. I came from Germany, played football there, and obviously my football there wasn't so successful when I came to Norwich, and it changed everything. The 2 promotions and all my life, I would say it's the best time I ever had in football, and Norwich, and obviously not just the club, everywhere around here, in the city, when I just walk around, Morrison's, Argos, wherever I go.
Hang on, Morrison's, you've got shares in Morrison's now as well, have you?
Yeah.
Expanding the portfolio, I think that is, yeah.
Exactly, people are very positive. And
do good pies, to be fair, don't they?
Really?
Yeah, you can't eat the pies, no, that's
no, I can't,
Phil.
Don't let the coach...
Don't let the boss know, no.
But everything, really people are around here as well, very positive, and that's why I enjoy it.
How tough was last season for you then? We know, you've just told us what the club means to you. You've even had those spells away, and we weren't sure whether you were going to come back. You have come back, and then it wasn't the season, let's face it, we were all hoping for. So how was that for you, being in the dressing room?
Obviously disappointing, but to be honest, I'm a person that don't like to look back, today is today, what yesterday was yesterday, and I'm very positive about what's coming next.
What about tracking back?
Don't like to track back as well.
No, I thought that was the case. I don't like to look back, see how the fullbacks feel about that. Ashley, one thing you're probably not going to have to do too much of is tracking back, but it's great to hear you guys as people rather than just footballers. This is at the latter end of your career, not at the end, latter end. You bring a huge amount of experience from the Premier League and the Championship, and actually the lower leagues as well. What was the sell to you, or what was the impetus for you? What do you want to bring to Norwich City?
Obviously, to have 3 promotions to the Premier League was obviously a nice thing to have on my CV. But after speaking to the boss and Stuart, and obviously bringing me and my wife down to visit the club and training ground and everything around the place, was just right for us as a family, But for me, I'm not stopping here. It was one of the conversations I had with Stuart and the boss, that this, just because of my age is just a number, I've got plenty more years left in me, and look, I've signed a 2-year contract at 33. People might go, oh, he's 33, he's past it. But I've got so much more to give, and I want to stay here to see out the rest of my career, and long may that continue. I want to get to play as long as possible, but first and foremost, look, I'm here to help the team. I'm here to help the young ones. The gaffer can give us all the infrastructure around in the philosophy that he wants us to play, but it's us as players that have to go out and cross that white line and put on a show for obviously everyone that pays for the money here.
Yeah, and lots of fans, I talk to them, obviously we do a phone in, what have you, and they think the one thing missing from the squad last season was that kind of, that hard tackle, that kind of really getting stuck in, and perhaps that little bit of the devil, I guess you'd call it. Is it fair to say you've got that, Ashley? I mean, we're amongst friends here, so you can tell us. Yeah,
a few elbows might be getting thrown around, so don't... Just keep on the
they'll love
now.
It. They'll love it. Don't worry.
Don't worry. I'll give it my all. I wear my heart on my sleeve, like you said earlier, and that's me as a player. And I'll give it my all, 110%.
Anel, you were nodding when I said that. Do you agree that Norwich were missing a bit of devil last season?
Yeah, 100%. And especially I remember the game at home against those guys. I had to take him on a corner. Such a nasty cheeky. You know, like.
Oh, another swear.
But
there's another beep.
Yeah, beep. Yeah. But yeah, we need guys like him, and I'm very happy that he's here, like a proper lad. You know, we need those guys.
You touched on it earlier, and all the lads have told you how popular Anel is with the fans, obviously in the dressing room as well. Who have you sort of already bonded with? Anyone you particularly picked out? I mean, obviously the Scottish lads are away, so you haven't met Kenny. I don't know. You obviously know Kenny, but
yeah, I know him, but obviously they're not around at the moment. So yeah, O'Neill is very, very close, and I've met a few of the lads. We obviously trained today. The other day, we haven't been in long, but the other day we had fitness testing, and so we were all in different times. But yeah, today was the first day to get to know everyone properly. So yeah, long friendships waiting in the waiting.
Should he be looking forward to meeting Kenny, do you think, Anel? And
yeah, for sure.
But that's the thing. I mean, one thing about Norwich is it does seem, despite results quite not going the way last season, there is a good team spirit there, isn't there? Would you agree, Anel?
Yeah, 100%. We still got a good team spirit, and also like we got like very good characters in the changing room, and especially with the players that came in now as well. Like I think it's a very positive changing room now.
Yeah, and obviously I just want to touch on that, and that was one of the reasons why it brought me here. I know obviously the good group. I know obviously what a fantastic group we have in the changing rooms. There is a few young ones that us older ones have to help out and lead along the way. But that was one of the reasons why it was the group and in the squad. And there's only one place why I've come here, and that's to get to the Premier League, and that's like everyone's aim. There's 23 other teams that are trying to fight for that, as Zoe said earlier. So it's going to be tough, but it's one that we all have to stick together and build that team bond, and that is what will get us through the relentless games Saturday, Tuesday, and kick us on throughout the season.
Absolutely. Now, we're going to have... I'm not going to say the word, but there is one team that we're going to play again next season. Yeah, so you're already turning your nose up, Anel. So we'll get Ash's take on it, because he's pretty good in derbies, I understand, so that's good.
We've already used the B word once. We don't need it again.
Yeah, we remember what you called Blackburn. But let's talk about... we've got to play him... I'll say we, because I'm a Norwich fan. I don't know if anyone realised that, but I am a Norwich fan. So Norwich have got to play him next season. Twice. I know, home and away. So first game in December, then in April. Is that already amongst the boys? Have they started talking about it? Because these fans are already... I mean, that's the first fixture we all looked for, wasn't it, when the fixtures came out? So how are you feeling about that one, Anel? I mean, you have got a Norwich City tattoo. You're a Norwich City boy through and through. They are coming back to Carrow Road in April. We've got to go there in December. I'm not looking forward to it. I hate going there. How are you feeling about it?
You talk about it.
Yes, there's another swear.
To be honest, I'm very buzzing about that. Like, I'm excited, and it's just, you know, like they can't beat us. You know, we just need to smash them, finish out.
Mic drop.
There's some good news about that as well, Ashley. I don't think you've ever scored against Norwich, have you? No, you haven't. No. But you have scored against Ipswich.
Yes.
Hey. 25th of February 2012. Brighton 3, Ipswich 0. That was obviously pre-Burnley, but well, I mean, they must have been some of the highlights of your career at Brighton. I'm sure you remember beating Ipswich.
Of course, now I'm here. That's for sure, definitely.
What do you make of the East Anglian Derby? Because I saw there's always these viral things on Twitter, and whenever anyone says how big the East Anglian Derby is, all the other fans of other teams say, no, it isn't. It's nothing. It's just loads of farmers battling over a farming field or something. We know different here, us Norfolk boys and girls, and the Suffolk lads and lasses do as well. They know how big it is. What was your view of the East Anglian Derby before you got here? Because I'll tell you what, mate, it's massive.
Yeah, I have heard the lads have told me how big it is, and yeah, I'm sure you're all looking forward to it. So am I, and obviously. We'll take one game at a time, but I'm sure that's what in the back of everyone's mind here, and the lads, that's what they're looking for. That's the games that you want to play in, them big special moments, and create history, and obviously hopefully we can do the double on them.
That's what we want, innit? That's what we want to hear. Give that a round of applause. Come on. But Phil touched on it. Just give us the facts on. I mean, we won't necessarily quote him, Phil, because we're not allowed to swear. But he's got a bit of history, as Ashley, with Blackburn.
I just did that a minute ago.
Oh yes, you did. Yes.
He doesn't listen to a word I say. Let's do it again for Rob's ears. Yeah. 25th of February 2012. Brighton 3, Ipswich 0.
No, I'm talking about Blackburn.
Oh, Blackburn. Well, we can't do that again, can we?
Well, he's you.
We can't quote it because we'll have to bleep it again.
Yeah,
and the bleep
well,
machine's
let
gonna
him have his
batter it.
swear. Come on, what did you call Blackburn?
Yeah.
But now it'll be it. Now I've learnt off now.
He's got the lingo down already, hasn't he? Obviously, you're getting back to training. So what have you been up to today then? So training today, first day, or are you eased in today, or what?
Yeah, we had the first training session, and it was, to be honest, all right. I think it will get worse, because so basically I've been all my life in Germany, and yeah, the Germans are just pretty tough, you know.
I think Stuart said to us when we spoke to him a couple of months ago that he was expecting the players to work so hard they were sick. I mean...
Yeah, I think that's on its way. We do start, as the gaffer mentioned it, I think 7 o'clock we have to report to the training ground a few days. So yeah, they're going to be very tough days for sure, and it's treble session. So he's going to put us through our paces, and we're all looking forward to it.
You've got a good chef, haven't you?
Yeah, to be honest, obviously,
It's all right. He's got earmuffs.
I'm getting scared
earmuffs,
now.
Yeah,
What he's
earmuffs for Mr. Wagner.
I hate pre-season, but at the end of the day, like I feel like the last few years, when I wasn't at Norwich, or when I came back to Norwich, don't want to mention the coach now, but it was not the same. And since then, Farke left, because we had the German guys as well. Training was very tough, you know, like, and you do it because you know what comes out by it. Like, you can be talented, but hard work gives you at the end of the day the success, you know. And I never, to be honest, like meet a coach like the gaffer that really like just don't have enough. Like a few days ago we had some testing and I was running really, like I tried my best, really my best. I was my best. I was like, after the test I was like really nearly, I nearly was dead. Yeah, and he came, and you know, he came the last 10 minutes and I had to obviously run more, you know, because he was watching, you know, like, and I was really done, and he like just saw the stats and they've been pretty all right, you know, because we done the test before and I was, but on that day it was very good, and he said, yeah, it's all right, but obviously not good enough, and there's always improvement. And I think with him, like, he will improve a lot of players here, and how he mentioned as well, it's about hard work, because you know how I said a few minutes ago, hard work brings success, and I think everyone in a team will really work hard now in the preseason itself when we don't enjoy it. But it's very important to be in the best shape whoever can be to play a good season. Ashley,
I just want to ask you while you're talking about the gaffer, because I mean you played the majority of your time at Burnley under one manager, and then obviously there was a change. But the opportunity to work with someone different at a different place and have a completely different challenge, is that quite exciting to you?
Yeah, of course. You know, the boss was obviously one of the main reasons why I chose here. After obviously speaking to him, speaking to how he wanted to play, how he sees us fitting in with the group and everything, and that was a big part. You know, I want to help people. I want to. Everyone wants to play, but if that's not the case, then you have to be behind the team, and you have to give everything. Not only if you're just being in the squad, if you're left in the stands, everyone needs to play their part, you know, and that's one thing that the boss touched on. We'll all have our role to play, but like I said earlier, it's only us that can do that, going out on over the white line, to cross the white line, and give these fans something to cheer about come the end of the season.
And Anel, just another question for you. You were talking about the gaffer there, the boss, you know, and kind of how important he is to you, and he's brought you effectively back to the club. You're getting lots of opportunities. You're kind of still everyone's favourite player, but you really are part of the first team picture now. So, you know, you're gonna give him a big head. But you clearly you love playing for this man.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, because like obviously since he came in, then I didn't knew really what was going on for the summer, and I just tried my best. I try everything I can, and obviously then he saw that I done this, and he still believes in me. He still sees improvement, and that's very important for a player if you have like a coach that believes in you. And like obviously then I signed the new deal, And that's why just to say to everyone, because it was speaking about here, like that they want to sell me, no chance. I still have 2 years and I don't go anywhere, you know. But yeah, and obviously thanks to him, I got the new deal, and thanks to Stuart as well, because Stuart is the main reason why I'm here. Like he met me the first time. I always mention it because he was the one that met me the first time in Wolfsburg. On that time I was in Wolfsburg, playing in Wolfsburg, and he sat with me on the table and he gave me that opportunity. So when I didn't understand what he was saying, but you know, like, yeah, I'm definitely thankful for that.
And obviously, you know, Stuart, we better ask you about that, Anel, because obviously you had a very good relationship with Stuart Webber. He is still here. He's still at the football club, but there isn't a time that's going to come when he leaves in the foreseeable future. What's your reaction to that? Yeah,
obviously I'm sad because, like, you know, like I know people, like there's someone like Stuart, like it's like people always criticize someone, like, but at the end of the day I feel like they have to criticize first the players, because the players are the one that do the work on the pitch, you know, and not always they're responsible like the coach or someone else. Because when I came to Norwich 5 years ago, when I saw the training ground, it looked like, I don't know, when I went to Birmingham on loan, it looked like the same, like, you know, like horrible. Don't put that in, because if not I get a lot of on internet because of said. I mentioned Birmingham now,
just,
but you know,
just copying the Birmingham fans for that clip. Yeah.
But no, like really, what he created in the last few years, the facilities for a football player to come to Norwich City are just different. Like it's just a dream, you know. And really, just I respect his work. He done great for Norwich City, and yeah. And actually, you signed for him. I mean, he did the deal, obviously, along with the rest of the management team, what have you. So, I mean, it obviously doesn't affect you too much, but no doubt you're sad to see him go because he did the deal with you. He brought you to the club.
Yeah, of course. He was the one that made the first move, you know, to allow me to have to speak with the boss. So, yeah, obviously he was massive for me and my wife, you know, when we came down. So, yeah, obviously I thank him so much for bringing me to the club, and hopefully I can repay him by getting us to the promised land, and hopefully we can do that and give him a good send-off.
We're getting towards half-time. We'll let everyone go and get a drink and what have you. But I just wanted to talk to you about Norfolk. I mean, look at this, Ashley. As we said, I mean, you're in a privileged position here, right in the middle of Norwich. You've got a beautiful vista of, you've got Norwich Market over there, which is wonderful, by the way. Anel, you've got a Cuban stall on there. It's not your Cuban stall, but you've been there, obviously. Very good. Me and Phil often have lunch there, don't we? You been?
Where?
There's a Cuban food stall on the market. Do you not know about this? Yes.
I think it's Chilean.
Chilean, yes, that's the one. Yeah,
close enough.
Same difference.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
cut that.
Cuban because
cut
I'm
that.
surprised. I've been in the market, but yeah.
There's a Cuban cigar stall as well, which obviously you'll be keen on. But you will big up how great Norfolk is. What's your, because we're all from Norfolk, we love people saying nice things about our city and our county. What's your initial reaction? Have you been to the beach yet? Have you been to Yarmouth? Have you been to Sheringham, anywhere like that?
No, not yet. I've only had a few days here, so obviously once we get pre-season and the hard work, then obviously my family will be arriving. So then we can go and enjoy and explore and everything. So that I'm looking forward to it.
Beach running. Get some beach running on the go.
That's hard.
They
on
do
the
two
beach,
things
mate.
in one
Come
go
on.
then.
Yeah, that's an idea.
That's hard.
Yeah, that is hard on the sand. Come on, Phil.
It's hard enough for the kids, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And Anel, you know, apart from going around, Chris Reeve, who is here, apart from going around these for coffee every day, what's your kind of Norfolk day out? What's your ultimate Norfolk day out? What do you love about it? Because we love hearing, you know, I remember we had Tim Closer in on the scrimmage, you know, a few years ago, and he said about how he loves Wales next to the sea, and he's not keen on fish and chips, but he loved the kind of seaside vibe. What about you? What do you love? What do you really love about a Norfolk day out?
Stones.
Steins, is it?
Steins.
Steins?
No, I don't. No, I don't drink beer.
Drink, no.
No, to be honest, like I love everything. Like they got like a nice like where the seas are, where you can go to water. I think that I don't know what's the name of it, but like, you know, I went with my family there around and we've been to the beach. But there are like these places like arcades where you just put.
Yeah.
Like, I love that.
2Ps.
Yeah, 2Ps, and then you try to get everything out there. Like I
The amount he gets paid, that's a lot of 2Ps.
He's not a gambler, that's for sure.
No, I'm not.
No, he's kicking it, trying to shake it as well.
Yeah, but I get it out anyway always. So, but yeah, and obviously the city as well. Like for me, most of the time, because I enjoy coffee, I love coffee as well. and a cigar here and that. No joke. I just go in the city, have a coffee. My favorite location, it's obviously the Costa next to Argos. I always sit around there, and I enjoy it.
It is a lovely out. We sat there the other day before a game, didn't we?
We did.
It's a lovely view of the car park
for Carrow Road,
it's
isn't
cracking,
it?
Yeah.
Very convenient.
Absolutely. Have you got a Costa card? Have you got the reward card?
Got a Costa and Starbucks
Brilliant
card as well.
Yeah. So you get
Other places are available for independent coffee. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
We're obliged to say that on the BBC.
There's lots of good independent coffee shops as well in Norfolk, we must say. Well, look, I know lots of people want to talk to you. They want to get questions in. They want to take photos. Well, they've already done some. But for now, we're going to have a sort of 10-minute break. Everyone can go and have a drink, go to the loo, whatever you want to do. But for now, let's just give a big round of applause for Ashley Barnes and Anel Hernandez.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we're ready to go for the second half, if everyone's ready. We'll just let this gentleman have his seat. No problem. He's all right, come on. Right.
Signing, Rob.
Yes. Okay. Well, welcome to part 2 of our special Norwich City Fans Forum. We have our guests on the stage. We've got the head coach, David Wagner, the executive director, Zoe Webber. We've got our brand new signing, Ashley Barnes, and also Anel Hernandez. Give him a round of applause. So, this part of the show, as promised, is over to you. Now, none of these questions are vetted. You can ask what you want within reason. Try not to swear like everyone else has, apart from Zoe. So well done, Zoe, for not swearing. But everyone else has. So, obviously, we just want hands up. We've got some questions that people have written down. But why don't we just get some hands up? Me and Phil are going to wander out and take your questions. Come on, then, let's see some hands. Here we go. Let's start with you. The shortest walk. Here we go. And tell us who it's for and ask the question.
Okay. Yeah. This is for Zoe. How close are we to getting the new first-team coach for the women's team? Because we're getting a bit close to the start of the season. Are we close? Have we got someone in mind, or?
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that Flo's working through at the moment as a matter of priority, and we are at final interview stage, as I understand.
So James is going to ask the next question. James, say who you'd like to ask the question to and then give us your question.
To Onel, what's your favourite game and why?
That was what's your favourite game and why?
My favorite game was again against Nottingham Forest. We was I think 3-0 down, and then at the end we got a draw, and I think Carrow Road was on fire.
Okay, we've got a question from a young fan here. If you don't mind me just reaching through. Come here, young man. Tell us your name.
Daniel.
Hello, Daniel. What's your question? Who's it for?
For Dave Wagner. Are you still going to play it short for the goal kicks, or are you going to do it long? Because last season it didn't always work.
Good question, Daniel.
Short.
Do you want more, Daniel? Do you want him to tell us why? Yeah, Daniel says why.
To be fair, I'm convinced about that if the players really do what we ask them to do, that it's one of their strengths. Obviously, there are some situations where we can do it better, for sure. And obviously, we have to find the balance as well. But the idea is to play football on the ground and not football in the air.
Good. Right, Phil, have you got anyone over there?
We've got Paul over here. Paul, give us or tell us who you want to ask a question to.
It's a question for David. Just thinking back to when you joined the club in January last year, Onel's alluded to the fact that perhaps fitness wasn't at the greatest levels under Dean Smith. I'm just wondering how hard that was coming in halfway through the season with the quite frankly, the mess that Dean Smith left us in.
Yeah, to be fair, obviously it is always easier to prepare your team if you have a pre-season. But the truth is as well, we were lucky that I don't know exactly which game got rescheduled, and then we had at least a full week or another weekend where we didn't have a game. And And the players were very open to put the shift in, but you have to be focused on the weekends and the results as well. So obviously it's always easier to get not only your ideas across to as well to get the players to the fitness level what you expect them to have when you have a full pre-season.
Okay, we've got a question over here. What's your name?
Mike.
Come on, Mike. Who's your question for?
I'm sorry, David, for you. It concerns set pieces, and in particular corners, defending corners. Two things, if I may ask. Why is it that we're not the only club who do it, that we seem to bring 11 players back for corners, and 9 times out of 10 the ball goes out straight to the opposition and we're immediately under pressure. So that was one point. And the second point was, going back a few years, I'm an ex-goalkeeper. I always had fullbacks on my goalposts for corners. And if you watch Match of the Day on a Saturday night and you see, 20 goals, often 10 are from corners. And I often think, if there were fullbacks on the goalpost, how many goals we could save. Any thoughts?
Yeah, obviously, yes, I have thoughts. This is my job to have thoughts. But so first of all, if we agree, every let's say, tactic or idea you choose has an advantage and a disadvantage, and you have to decide what you think is best. So in terms of the setup in the corners, my preference and my idea is, if we have a defending corner, the most important thing is to defend your goal and not to attack the opponent's goal. Make sure that you will not concede. If you defend the corner, it's about defending your goal. This is why normally, I know that sometimes we have not done it. We bring everybody back because it's about defending your goal if you defend the corner and not attacking the opponent's goal. And the other question regarding the back post or both posts occupy with some defenders as well. Obviously, I prefer to leave these decisions with the goalkeeper, how he feels comfortable with. And when we decide not to use players on the post, the advantage in this case is you only can normally concede a goal with a first-time header or with a first-time touch, because a second touch usually is offside. If you have a player on the post, there is no offside. And this is obviously the decision for us to say, okay, we don't put a player on the post, because obviously if it's a first-time contact, our goalkeeper has to save it, or our defenders have to make it difficult for the opponent, and we at least will not concede a goal from a second contact, because this player should be in offside.
All right, Joyce has got a question. Joyce?
Hi. We heard word 2 or 3 months ago of a proposed pre-season friendly at Carrow Road against a German team. We've been trying to find out if that's actually going to happen. Is there a reason why we haven't had that confirmed yet?
Did you hear the question? The question is basically, is there going to be a home friendly in pre-season that so far has not been announced?
Yes, we're currently working on that, and hopefully we'll be announcing in the next week or so.
Okay, good news.
Okay, right. What's your name?
Neil.
Come on, Neil. What's your question?
Right, it's for David again, I'm afraid. I feel a little bit sorry for Lungi, because he's been a jack of all trades. He's filled in admirably wherever he's been asked to play, but the chances that he's had to play in his preferred position have been very few and far between. And I think, looking back over the last 10 years or so, at our defensive midfield capabilities, we were always much better with a certain Teti playing there than when he wasn't there. He was noticed when he wasn't there more than when he was, which is quite sad. But when Lungi came in, I thought he was the heir apparent, but I think I've only seen him play twice in that position. Can I have your thoughts on it, please?
I only can say that you're absolutely right. I think obviously he came back from a long time injury absence. When he came back and he started quite well in a central midfield position. And obviously then everybody is aware about the injury crisis which we then had on the centre-back positions. And obviously then more or less our best and last option was playing Lungi as centre-back, which is not his preference. I think he has tried everything as best as he can, even if we both know that this is not his best position. So I'm really looking forward to the preseason for him, to the next season as well. I'm very happy to have him in the squad, even if he is very variable in terms of capable of playing positions. I agree with you that defensive midfield is best position.
Keep those hands, keep putting your hands in the air just so we can come and find you from the left and right. We've got this gentleman had his hand up.
Yeah, just one for Ashley, please. Ashley, I'm sure you're aware, Timu Pukki, obviously a bit of a club legend, left in the summer. I think it's fair to say, sort of in Josh Sargent, Adam Eady, he didn't have a sort of an identifiable number two prolific sort of, second choice striker behind him. They're two very young strikers. You've obviously got significant experience yourself. I know you mentioned age is just a number and you want to contribute yourself, but in terms of your experience and that sort of, everything you've learned from your career in football, sort of what could they learn from you, and how much are you sort of relishing your role as perhaps a mentor for them?
That's obviously first and foremost. I'm here to do a job, and that's to put the ball in the back of the net first. Hopefully I can do that many times this season. Of course, Timu was an incredible player, and what he achieved for this club was phenomenal, and I wish him well. But yeah, as I say, for the younger ones, as long as I can help them in training in any aspect, I'm always open to help them as much as possible as well. But first and foremost, I need to concentrate on my game, obviously to do the basics right. I think obviously to have that, to hold the ball up and bring others into play, it's not just obviously about scoring goals, but that is what everyone will look at is scoring goals. But first and foremost, it's to hold the ball up, to bring people into play, to work as a team, my work ethic up and down the pitch, you know what I mean? Defending set plays, as this gentleman said, defending for and against. So yeah, it is not just one job. It's many of jobs, and I will help the young boys as much as possible.
Let's just, before we go back to the floor, I just want to ask one of the questions we got from half-time on these cards that we had for people who perhaps were too shy to ask it in person, which is absolutely fine. This one's from Russell. He says, and this one's for, let's start with Anel and then we'll ask Ashley as well. Russell says, I suffer from bad mental health and do photography to kind of relax and unwind, I should say. What do the players do to relax and unwind? Anel, what do you do when you've had a bit of a bad day and you want to relax? What's your hobbies? That's quite an interesting question, I thought.
I think everyone is different in that aspect. Like, I think every player do something different. And when I have a bad day, or I feel like the most important thing is for me my family, my dogs. Especially with dogs, when you had a bad day, you come home, and they're just excited to see you, and and you enjoy the time with them as well. And obviously, not only that, everyone has bad days, and for me it's just, I really enjoy to be with my family, with positive people around me, and not to being down. And I think also I just go out with my family. We do a lot of things. We entertain ourselves. So it's every player is different in that case. I think there are a lot of people that are frustrated, but I feel like I'm a very positive person, and I feel like every morning when I wake up, I need to be positive, because I'm a football player. My father, he works from 7 to 6, and he does a very hard job, so I just kick the ball around. So there's nothing really better for me than just kicking a ball around. It's my hobby. I dreamed I dream always for that, and so I think for me it's very hard to be very negative about something. I try to be positive as much as I can, and I think everyone is different in that case as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Ashley?
Yeah, no, I'm a bit like obviously the family, never be too scared to speak, to a friend, pick up your phone to call anyone. But for me, yeah, it's the family, you know. To have them just to chat, I think you need to chat openly. You have the boss. You've got so much support, obviously in football. But yeah, it's to be around the family. For me, my hobbies is to be around the kids. Obviously, sometimes driving me a bit potty, but yeah, it's and I've got dogs as well, so it's just nice to just go for a long walk, you know, and clear your head, and like Onel said, to think positive, you know, of obviously the next day, wake up and you're refreshed.
Great stuff, Phil.
Yeah, we got Jack over here.
Yeah, hi. Mine's for Zoe, please. It was reported last season that the club spent quite a bit of money on external comms experts. I just wanted to ask whether that's something that was reviewed at the end of the season, because I appreciate it was difficult when the mood was generally quite negative and toxic at times last season, but some of the comms that came out of the club last season was at times quite strange, I felt.
Sorry, I didn't catch the end of that bit.
I just felt that some of the comms that came out of the club last season at times some of the messaging was quite strange, and sometimes it felt almost quite hostile towards the fans.
I think it was never intended to be hostile towards the fans by any means. So yeah, look, you know, we always review our comms. We spent a bit of time as well speaking to our supporter panel around our sort of social media interactions, and they gave us some feedback. So hopefully, if that was the perception, then you won't see that going forward.
Okay, go on, sir.
Yeah, John, this is for the both players, Onel and for Ashley. Onel, there was a period of time when you weren't with the club, and you know, some of us out here, I reckon, wondered whether you were ever going to play for us again because you were out on loan doing some things. I wonder how you sort of felt about that when you were away, and if there were low points when you thought you weren't going to play. And for Ashley, it's a case you probably, I imagine, may have had more than one or two clubs to go to this year. I'm interested to understand maybe who those clubs might have been and why you picked Norwich ahead of that.
So Onel, go on. So the question was, obviously you were out on loan and perhaps you didn't think you were going to come back to Norwich, and you know, how are you feeling about that when you thought that the time here had come to an end?
Yeah, obviously I felt pretty sad about it, because so basically I went on loan and I had my spell in Middlesbrough and in Birmingham, and it was a completely different experience, you know, because I enjoyed Norwich a lot, and my fiance is from here. I had a lot of friends here, and I built like a good relationship to the fans, to everyone, and I was quite upset to then go to Middlesbrough and Birmingham, and I really believed, like in my first days of going away, I was thinking really I never come back, because like it's football, you know, sometimes you just move away and never come back. But I knew as well, if I give everything like I always do, that there's an opportunity to come back. And there was not a day where I was really thinking, like, you know, like a few days, like every time, like, you know, give everything and you will get the opportunity to come back. And I had good messages from Stuart Self on that time that texted me and said, like, give everything. And I did. And then when the call came to come back, mate, I packed my stuff and drove straight away back, that's for sure.
That's what we like to hear, yeah, absolutely. Middlesbrough or Norwich, that's a no-brainer, really, isn't it? So, Ashley, go on. The gentleman asked John about other clubs that were in for you.
Yeah, I had, I'm not going to lie, I had quite a few options, but obviously after I could have made the easier choice to stay local. You know, I lived in Manchester for almost 10 years, so the easiest option I could have had was just to go around the corner. But I'm ambitious. After speaking to the boss and Stuart, it was my vision is to get back to the Premier League and to help in every way possible. And that's for me. You know, I spent 4 years in Brighton, and I thought that was my forever home. And then going up north, I thought, I'll go back to Brighton, no problem. I almost spent 10 years there. We say that's our family home now. Obviously, just made it to how we was, and obviously being there for so long. But now I'm here at Norwich, and obviously in football, you move around quite quick. But I've been lucky enough to obviously have have only a limited number of homes, and as you can see, when I'm at a club, I'll stay for a long time, and that's hopefully something that I want to do here. And hopefully, who knows, hopefully I'll be retiring here, and this is my forever home.
Got a question from the front row.
I've got 2 questions, and it's a mix for Wagner and Zoe. My first one is there any updates on when the kit's going to release? And the second one is, are we looking to sign any more players?
The kit, well, our first game is next Tuesday, so there will be a kit out before then. I'll give you a little heads up. So I think...
Is it yellow? She's not letting on now.
I'm not going to let on, but I have heard home kit. There might be a bit of yellow and a bit of green. If there's not, then I probably won't be here anymore. So yeah, but look out for some teasers this week. And then signing players.
Signing more players. Well, that's probably for David, I suppose, isn't it? The young man wanted to know, are we going to sign more players? There go the dough balls anyway up there, look.
It's the plan, but like always, what I can't promise, I will not promise, but it's a plan that some new players will come in this transfer window, yes.
So we'll come over to you in a minute, sir, but I just keen to get some questions that we had on Twitter for people who can't be here tonight. This one is for Zoe. It's from Jodie Wood. Thanks for the question, Jodie. We have touched on it earlier, Zoe, but it's a bit of a rephrase. Jodie says, what will Mark Atanasio's involvement look like over the next few seasons? Is there a plan for him to become more influential at the club?
I think, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Mark obviously spoke when he came in. He's new to football. It's not an industry that he's got much knowledge of, and he's very respectful and understanding of that. And I think he's, very keen to learn from Delia and Michael in particular, as long-standing custodians of the club. The nuances of football and really get to grips with the club. And we've even seen in the short time that he's been on the board, his contributions growing, and we expect that to continue.
Okay, should we go over to this?
Yeah, you go over there. I'll just ask Zoe another question. These are some that were submitted earlier. The Secret Greyfriar is the online name. Does Stuart's departure affect your own situation at Norwich City? And does that mean you're going to be here in the medium to long term to help guide the club forward?
Yeah, I get the question. Obviously, there's no secret that we're married, but, we've worked together here for coming up 6 years, but we've both worked at other clubs previously separately, and I think we've been fortunate to have this time here, but we're not sort of joined at the hip professionally. I still feel that I've got a role to play here. There's still a lot I want to achieve for this club, and hopefully I'll be here for some time.
Okay, what's your name, sir? Rob. Rob, good name. Here we go. Best question of the night coming up.
All right, question for David. Recruitment. Following on from last season and seeing the squad in its full depth and what happened towards the end of the season, what skill sets is the squad lacking, and who or where are you looking to target those new people coming in the door?
In general, I would say that obviously it depends as well what players we will lose in this window as well if we discuss which positions which we target. But in general, I can say that obviously we felt and we've seen that in terms of mental strength and robustness we lacked in last season, and this was for sure something what we wanted to add and to adjust in this window for sure.
I've got Keith here who's got a question, Phil, is that all right?
Hi, yeah, my question's probably for Zoe, and it's following on from the question we had earlier about the kit. I noticed today there were some pictures of our training kit went out online, and they're white and our badge is blue on it. Now, I know it's been a while since we've played that lot from down the road, but could you possibly remind that whoever makes those decisions that we don't do blue and white?
I'll let them know.
A couple of questions came in online, which I guess is for you again, Zoe. One or a few people asking about safe standing and where we are in the near future, or is it going to be a longer future than that? And also, people still keen to maybe see more development at Carrow Road for more seats to be available. Is that something that's still being worked on, or has that been put on the back burner?
Yeah, 100%. It's actually a big project that we're working on, and I think I completely appreciate that. That's why it looks like there hasn't been a huge amount of progress, particularly on safe standing. So I think what's kind of happened is, as we've started working on one particular area, you kind of then unpick and start having conversations about other areas. And I think everybody's kind of aware that we would really like to sort of redevelop the city stand eventually. But actually, that's led us to do is actually evaluate the stadium as a whole. Really understand what's viable in the south stand, and what the composition of the stadium looks like as well. So we've been working with a company called Legends, and we've instructed architects to look at the feasibility and what those plans look like. Construction costs at the moment are astronomical, so we did have an indicative cost. So what we're doing is just kind of looking through those plans, understanding like the phasing. So I think one of the key things we've always spoken about is we have nearly 22,000 season ticket holders, which is brilliant, but how do we redevelop a stadium without people not being able to come to the game? And that's it's key for us. So the architects that we've been speaking to are the ones that did the work at Liverpool, because they were very clever in how they structured the build and gave them the most capacity possible during both the main stand and the Anfield Road end. So definitely something on the agenda, definitely something we're working on, but build projects are slow.
Okay, we've got a gentleman here.
Thank you. It's another one for Zoe. It's just about parachute payments. I read an article that mentioned about how the parachute payments, since being relegated from the Premier League, have already been accounted for. I just wanted to know where they might have gone. How does it work regarding where those kind of funds go? Does it go on new players? Does it go on infrastructure of the club or everyday running of the club? I just wanted your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's not uncommon for clubs to just accelerate the parachute effectively, I wouldn't. We don't kind of go right. Well, this money goes towards this. Overall, we have our overall costs, we have our overall financing, and we budget accordingly.
Okay, yeah, we got another question here. Give us your name, sir.
Bernie. Sorry, Zoe, I have to return to the subject of American Mark. The club are always very quiet and evasive on the subject, and you have been very cool again tonight. I'm beginning to think he's not very keen. You did say that he was talking to a lot of people in football. I think when he was first interested, we were flying high. We're not flying high now. I'm beginning to think he has second thoughts. I think you've got to have loads of money to get involved with football, and if you want to throw it away, I think he's having second thoughts.
Did you get all that?
Is that Mark having second thoughts?
Yeah, the concern is, so Mark Atanasio originally came here really enthusiastic, and we were quite confident that maybe he'd put his hand in his pocket, and it has gone a bit quiet on that front. And Bernie was saying you're being very cool talking about it, but he's a bit concerned that maybe Mark is having second thoughts.
Definitely not. Like I say, I think I appreciate maybe it's a bit quiet from an external perspective, but absolutely not kind of internally. A few of us actually went over to Arizona for their pre-season training camp back earlier this year, and actually we turned up at a big supporter event for the Brewers, and all of their staff are like literally Norwich mad. They've downloaded the apps. They're all across they're getting up at whatever time of the morning to watch the games. There's a massive level of enthusiasm, and like I say, around the table in board meetings, we speak to him and have meetings with him at least every month, if not more. And yeah, they're giving us huge support and huge insight.
Come on then, young man, what's your question?
Hello. Wait, can you hear me? Oh, Barnes. Wait, it's O'Neill Barnes. Oh, how many goals are you going to score with your head?
How many with your head, Ashley?
I'm not sure. You give me a tally and I'll try and get there.
Go on, tally.
57.
57.
Blimey.
Should we just go with 7?
I need to have 57 touches throughout the season first. I'll try, mate.
Anel, any headed goals from you, mate?
Headed goals?
Headed goals, yeah.
Not with that hair, mate.
No, fair enough. Yeah, okay. Right, should we go on, Phil?
Yeah, Alan's here.
To Zoe, are we still going to produce a programme this year, a printed programme?
As at today, yes. I think it is something that we have been looking at because, programme sales are down and they've, historically dropped off over the years. And I know some clubs have moved away from having a programme, and it's something that we probably will need to have a conversation around, in coming seasons. But at the moment, as it stands, we will have one next season.
Right, I've got a question here for David, if that's okay. This is from Twitter. Kevin Yarnham says, what improvements have been made to our recruitment, his words, given how poor our transfers have been over the last couple of years now? So what's going to be changed about recruitment to improve it?
To be fair, it was more or less my first proper window, which I've now lost here in Norwich because I came quite late in January. But one aim which we had in terms of the quality of the players I already said, but a further aim of us was as well to get as quick as possible our main targets in, and I'm quite happy that we already signed 4 players before the pre-season started. Obviously, because of the one or other reason, only Ashley started today, but the other guys will be in at the latest on Monday. So this were, for me, a big priority as well, to make sure, if possible, get the main targets in as quick as possible.
We've got another question from the floor in just a second, but while we've got you, David, a question given to us on Twitter. Are there any promising under-23s players that are actually likely to be called up into your first team squad, and if so, who?
Yeah, we have some talent, absolutely we do. Obviously, we will give them some chances in the pre-season as well, and then we like to see who maybe can grab that chance, but obviously I don't like to name anyone because I don't like to put any extra pressure on them.
Okay, another question from down here.
Question for Zoe. I guess we sometimes use a bit of a yo-yo club in regards to, obviously we talked about our aspiration this coming season to get promotion, which is fantastic. But I guess the question for me is, how do we then stay in the Premiership? Because that's obviously been a challenge for us over quite a number of seasons.
Sorry, I didn't catch the last bit. How are we going to...
Obviously been a bit of a yo-yo club, and the gentleman asked, what are you going to do to change that and keep Norwich in the Premier League?
No, ask David.
Big question. Well, do you want David to answer it or Zoe?
Look, we know how difficult it is to compete in the Premier League, and I think behind the scenes, we have a team not solely dedicated to this, but they're actively working on really trying to try and kind of equip us the best way that we can to compete when we get there.
Thanks for your question. Here you go, young man.
Question for Zoe, please. So, as you said earlier, Stuart handed his notice in March, but then the announcement came sort of earlier this month, if I'm correct on that. My question is, how come it took those last few months to announce that to us, and because the atmosphere towards the end of the season became quite unpleasant for some, as I'm sure a lot would agree. So I was wondering why the announcement was so sort of delayed after he handed his notice in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the key thing when Stuart handed in his notice, we were still fighting for a playoff position, and we still felt that we could get there. And I think at that moment in time, for us as a board, that was absolutely our focus, and we didn't feel that we wanted to kind of jeopardise that in any way and create any kind of uncertainty amongst the playing squad. So we took that decision. Then, obviously there were a lot of people that Stuart wanted to speak to personally. And so we took the decision that we would kind of let the season come to an end, give him the opportunity to speak to the people, that he wanted to speak to, so that they knew, rather than finding out, via an announcement, and then we scheduled the announcement.
We've got young Harry down here, and I think he's got a question for David.
Yeah. Who's your favourite and least favourite player?
Good luck.
Favorite player?
Yeah, and your least favourite as well.
And your least favourite, yeah.
You can start with that one if you like.
Doesn't have to be a Norwich player.
Okay, my favorite player, I have to say was, because unfortunately he died, is Maradona. Do you know him? So he was a Argentinian football player, long time before.
Yeah, we all know him, don't we, England fans? Yeah, we all know him, yeah.
So, and less... So there was a period when I was a player, and I was obviously left winger and or right winger, and behind me played a right fullback in Mainz. Luckily, he was become a much more better manager than a player, and won the Premier League title, won the Champions League as well. So when he played behind me and he hasn't done what I wanted him to do, I got upset about him. His first name was Jürgen.
Excellent, good answer. Right, just one from our cards here tonight. Ollie got in touch with us at half-time. This is for the players, so we'll start with you, Anel. Great question, this. Great question. If you weren't a footballer, what would you be, Anel Hernandez?
I think a salesman.
You have to say the truth now, eh?
Yeah, it's the truth. A salesman. I will tell you everything.
Ashley?
I obviously originally come from Bath, so I always wanted to be a farmer. Obviously, now I'm going to fit in very well down here. So this is where I'm going to finish up, I'm for sure.
Fantastic, brilliant. You could have been a rugby player as well. It's a big rugby place. Are you a rugby fan?
Yeah, not really, no. But it's huge in rugby, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, North Walsham going well in the National League, but you can go and see them later on the season. Have you got anyone over there? Because we've got a couple over here, Phil.
Well, you run over there. This is a very quick one for O'Neill.
Now, look, ladies and gentlemen, please look at this shirt. Stand up, young man. Look at this. Is this a match-worn Darren Eadie shirt?
Sadly not. It's from Classic Football Shirts in London. One of my mates got it for Christmas. So.
Oh, but look at that. Look at this. Number 20, Darren Eadie. That deserves a round of applause. My legendary hero, Darren Eadie. Right, go on, you can sit down now. What's your question?
So it's just from an outside perspective. As I've been a supporter since 2006. I've been going for the majority of my life. When Stuart first came into the club, there was a lot of emphasis that was put on transparency with the supporters. Whilst things haven't been ideal the past season in terms of disappointment of it, there did seem from a supporter's perspective to be a bit of, not hostility, between the local media and the club. Obviously, Stuart speaking to the local media, obviously with the Pinken and the Radio Norfolk interview. What steps are yourself, Zoe, and the club looking to sort of try and repair that divide, so to speak?
Yeah, I think relationships haven't been great. I think, contrary to kind of popular belief, we've never banned the media. You know, there's been kind of, you know, I keep getting asked a lot, you know, why have we banned them? Absolutely, you know, nobody's been banned, but we did feel at times that some of the presentation of certain things was, you know, perhaps a little bit unfair and antagonistic. And I think, you know, we worked really hard to try and have really good positive relationships, and you know, that hurt a little bit for us. But absolutely, you know, we've drawn a line. We've drawn a line under that. We all want to work positively going forward. We all want the same outcome, you know, absolutely. So, you know, I'm hoping that we'll have a better relationship this coming season.
Hello, Joe. You got a question?
Yeah, it's a question for David. Obviously, football's a results game, business. Last 11 games, only one win. So what are you doing to change the mentality of that team to get off to a good start? Because obviously, not to beat around the bush, but the pressure's very much on for us to get off to a good positive start. So I just want to know what's your game plan to change the mentality of that team.
Yeah, obviously with having this in the back of our mind, we all together know that first of all we have a very important window in front of us where we, as well as I said already, have to make sure that we sign players who get this certain mentality and mindset into our dressing room, which we missed. But on the other hand, obviously, it was clear and obvious that with the injury crisis which we conceded, we really struggled. So we have to make sure that we have a certain depth in our squad, and we have to make our squad more robust as well, that we don't have so many injuries that we conceded in the last season as well, to be more competitive and to have more competitiveness in training as well. And obviously, this is where the preseason is for, and what the preseason is all about, and obviously what we started when we refreshed our group in this window.
Right, so we're going to go about, thanks for that answer there, we're going to go about another 5 or 10 minutes. So any more questions, put your hands up now. Anel, got to get him to bed. He needs his beauty sleep, so we don't want to keep him up too late. We've got Mark here. Come on, Mark.
Thanks, Rob. Just a question for Zoe. I wanted to pick up on what Bernie said earlier, because I understand why he was concerned. But regarding the the complicated share issue that you mentioned, Zoe, did I hear you right by saying that you hope that it would be over the line in the next couple of weeks? And also, when that happens, will there be a public announcement about it?
I wouldn't say over the line in the next couple of weeks, but we certainly hope that there will be some significant progress. And yes, you know, absolutely, we will keep people updated as and when we can. Unfortunately, like I say, just because of the sort of regulatory regime that we're kind of having to adhere to, it's limited into sort of how much progress we can kind of update on at the moment.
We've got Kevin over here. Kevin's got a question.
Yes, question of Zoe. Delighted actually to see the return of these forums, which had been a factor in the past. And I think that's delighted that we've had an entertaining evening, and great to see that. I think that when they were championed in the past, they were championed by the then club chairman. If we go back 20 years ago, can I just ask in that context why we moved away from the concept of a club chairperson, and equally maybe the chief operating officer?
So, could you just open
Did you hear
the
that?
bells
Yeah,
ringing?
no, so
Sorry.
why have we moved away from a COO and chairman to where we are now? As we were quite successful in the old sort of style of running things.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's that wasn't my decision. That's a decision for Delia and Michael and the wider board at the time. And I think that they felt that actually, by splitting out the football side and the non-football side, actually you could cover kind of quite a lot of ground quite quickly and get some growth. And I think that's sort of been demonstrated by the development of the training centre and how we've managed to move some projects forward over the last few years. I think in terms of a chair, I think that's not a question for me. That's a question for the owners.
Okay, question. Oh, do you want another point there? Sorry, no, go on.
Could they possibly turn up at a meeting like this and answer that question then? Because
Could they turn up and ask that question then?
Well, they make themselves available at the AGM if anyone wants to ask that question.
Okay, here we go.
Thank you. Just a question for Zoe. The FA announced that English clubs can now get 4 sign-ins without needing any of the EU permits to sign the players. I know that we've moved away to a South American style of scouting players and also homegrown players. But will this summer transfer window be affected by getting some more foreign players in with that new rule introduced?
Yeah, I think it came quite late in the day. So I think feedback from a lot of clubs is kind of this is it's welcomed, and I think it will be positive for clubs. But like David alluded to, our planning for summer goes back to probably to the end of last summer. So it's something that's a massive tool for us and something that we obviously will look to utilise. I think really the measure of the success of that will come, might come possibly in January and next summer. But yeah, I think what it does is it takes away the kind of the jeopardy of what is the appeals process at the moment, and can give us a little bit more certainty around recruitment, particularly in those kind of markets.
Just got another question here for David Wagner from Andrew Nicol on Twitter. He wants to find out a little bit about how the team is going to play next season. He says, how does he want his team to play next season? Will it be counter-attack, high press, overlapping fullbacks? You're not going to give us all the secrets, but would there be a kind of style that's going to be fluid, or will there be a David Wagner style that you're going to stick to?
Exactly everything what you said.
All those things. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I think fans, what probably Andrew's getting at there is just the kind of the style of play. Norwich fans, God bless us. I think Norwich fans love to have a style, a Norwich style, and no doubt, you'll have your thoughts on that. But I guess the most important thing is winning games. That's the style you need.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, it's all about to win football matches. But I'm a strong believer. As better as you perform, as higher is your possibility to win football matches. And I think everybody has seen in the last, let's say, 8 to 10 games when we started and when we had our squad available, what our idea of football is and what we are capable of. Obviously, this was quite at the beginning, and we were not able to continue for different reasons what we started. But with this pre-season in front of us, and with the signings which we already have done, and what we like to do as well, I'm very confident that we will be capable, as I said, at least to be this energetic, high intense and aggressive football team which I expect from us to be, and hopefully then with performances and results, we will have the confidence as well to keep this going.
Got a question for Onel. Marcelino Núñez scored twice against Cuba during the international break for Chile, 2 different places, Rob. How are you going to welcome him back from the international break?
Yeah, I'm excited to see him back, that's for sure, because he dropped me a message straight away after he scored those 2 goals with his celebration. And yeah, I'm waiting to get him back for that on the training ground, for sure.
Right, I think we're nearly at the end. Any more questions? Oh, hello. It's right at the back. Look, get the cardio up. Come on, look. Just talk amongst yourselves while I just get down the back.
Sprint, come on.
Yeah, okay. Well done. That's all right. You don't need to apologise.
Hi, my question's for Zoe. Hi. It's been really fantastic to see the integration of the women's team more over the past 12 months. And I wondered if we would be seeing more of the women's team at Carrow Road over the next year.
Yeah, I think when we took the women's team in-house last year, we spoke about wanting to kind of take it on that journey, and part of that is kind of not hugely accelerating sort of the progress, because we're very mindful of kind of retaining the existing players and taking them on a journey. So I think we were overwhelmed, if I'm honest, at the support for the team at the game at Carrow Road, and absolutely, we want to be able to deliver that again next season. But I think as well, it's as much sort of behind the scenes, and we've kind of made some changes over the last sort of few months that Flo, our general manager, she now reports into Stuart, so that he can kind of help guide and mentor her. And through that, we're actually kind of providing sort of more shared resource from the Lotus Training Centre for the women's team. They'll now train more regularly at the training ground as well. So I think we're gradually trying to enhance and develop each year. We spoke about the appointment of a new head coach. We've entered into a partnership with UEA, which will mean that we will be able to kind of bring someone in who will be kind of shared across us and the UEA, but it means that we can bring in someone full time. To further develop the team. So we're really, really happy with kind of how it's going, and really thankful to everyone who's got behind the team and supported them.
And just before we round up, we have to do one of these burning questions that people always send in, and it's for Mr. Argos, this person says, from Ad Potter. This is the big question of the night. Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck? So just think about this, Anel. Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses, so you've got 100 of them, that's quite a lot, and they're obviously tiny horses, little kicks and stuff, or you've got 1 massive duck, quite snappy.
Just explain that all over again.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, please.
So, stop winding me up. Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck? It's a big question, Anel. Norfolk is on tenterhooks here.
He's given it a lot of thought as well. I like that. That's good.
1 horse duck.
Just 1 big horse duck, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Take lots of bread, you can sort of distract it and etc.
For sure.
Well, anyway, we thought we'd end with a laugh. Thanks, Anel. That's been brilliant. Thanks to everyone. Thanks to David, Zoe, Ashley and Anel. And thanks to you, the audience.
Thank you.
Thank you.